I never thought a single evening could dismantle 2 decades of love, trust, and partnership. But life has a cruel way of blindsiding you when you're least prepared. My wife, Rachel, and I had been inseparable since college. We built a world together filled with late-night laughter, quiet milestones, and dreams woven tightly between us. We bought a house, raised 2 wonderful kids, and stood together through every twist and turn life threw at us. Or so I believed. Rachel was always the thrill-seeker between us. She thrived on change and new hobbies, new faces, new experiences. I found comfort in the familiar. Steady routines, deep roots, that was my rhythm. And maybe the contrast is what made us click for so long. Her energy lit up my world. But sometimes the same spark that brings warmth can also burn everything down. It had started as a joke, one of those half-serious conversations couples have when they still believe love makes them bulletproof. Just one free pass, she teased me back in our newlywed days, her eyes twinkling with mischief. But only if it's Jason Momoa. We both laughed. It felt like innocent fun, something said and forgotten. I never imagined those words would come back, twisted into something real. A few months ago, things began to shift. At first, it was barely noticeable, an extra hour at the office here, a new group of friends there. Rachel was suddenly glued to her phone, her screen turned away more often than not. I didn't want to be that husband, the paranoid one. So I told myself it was just stress or midlife restlessness. But the pieces didn't add up. She picked up running again, something she hadn't done in years. Bought new clothes that didn't quite match her usual style. There was a glow about her, a buzz of excitement that I couldn't recognize as mine. It was like she was living in a world I no longer belonged to. One evening, we sat on the couch, half watching some crime show. She mentioned a birthday get-together for a colleague. Just a small thing, she said, eyes fixed on her screen. A few drinks after work. I won't be out late. Her voice was casual, almost too casual. And she wouldn't look at me. Something inside me stirred, an unease I couldn't shake. When the night of the party arrived, she looked incredible. That black dress, tight, elegant, unfamiliar, clung to her in ways that made me feel like a stranger. She wore heels she hadn't dusted off in years. As she stood at the door, applying one last touch of lipstick, I realized I didn't know who she was dressing for anymore. She hadn't worn that dress in years. And for a split second, she looked exactly like the woman I fell for all those years ago. But there was something off. Something in her eyes. It was like she was putting all that effort in for someone else. Not for me. You look incredible, I said, trying to hide the knot forming in my chest. She gave me a smile, but it barely touched her eyes. Thanks, she said casually, slinging her purse over her shoulder. Don't wait up. I watched the door close behind her, and then the silence swallowed the room whole. I sat there, some movie playing in the background, but I couldn't focus on anything except the growing unease in my gut. Time dragged. Minutes felt like hours. Then my phone buzzed. Having a great time. Don't worry. Love you. It was from Rachel. I stared at the screen, waiting for some kind of comfort to follow. But it didn't. The message felt hollow, like it was copy-pasted from an old memory of affection. Not something real. By midnight, she still wasn't home. I called her. No answer. Called again. Straight to voicemail. Third time. Still nothing. My thoughts spiraled. Maybe her phone died. Maybe she was just caught up. Maybe. But every rational excuse I came up with crumbled under the weight of dread. At 1:30 in the morning, the front door finally opened. She stepped in, cheeks flushed, hair a little out of place, eyes gleaming like she'd just come back from some hidden world where I didn't exist. You're still awake? She asked, a little startled. I nodded, trying to keep my voice from betraying me. How was the party? She hesitated. Just a flicker. It was fun. You know, the usual office gossip, bad karaoke. She pecked me on the cheek and walked upstairs like nothing was wrong. But I stayed there, planted on the couch, feeling like a man slowly being erased from his own life. In the weeks that followed, the space between us only widened. She smiled more, laughed more, but never with me. She was always on her phone, always working late. Always somewhere else. And then one night, while she was in the shower, I saw her phone on the nightstand. I stared at it, heart pounding. I didn't want to go through it. I hated the idea of it. But something inside me, the part that still needed answers, won out. I picked it up, unlocked it using the passcode I'd known since forever. And there it was. A message thread with someone named Kyle. Inside jokes. Midnight chats. Secrets shared in the dark. And then I saw the message that shattered everything. One sentence and I knew. Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again. That message hit like a wrecking ball. I just sat there, staring at the screen, my hands trembling, my pulse deafening in my ears. It felt like the floor beneath me had disappeared, like my whole world had collapsed in an instant. My brain scrambled for some alternative explanation, something less devastating, but there was nothing. The truth was laid out in digital ink. Was this it? Was this the free pass we'd laughed about all those years ago? Had she actually believed the joke still had meaning? That it gave her permission? I placed the phone back on the nightstand like it was something radioactive. My chest was tight. My thoughts wouldn't settle. All I could do was sit on the edge of the bed, staring blankly into the dark, waiting for her to come out of the shower. When Rachel stepped into the room, she looked at peace, hair wet, wrapped in a robe, humming quietly to herself. But the second she saw me, saw the phone in my hand, her smile froze. "Is everything okay?" she asked, voice wary. I took a breath, though it felt like my lungs had stopped working. "Who's Kyle?" I asked, my voice low but steady. She froze. Her face lost all color. For a moment, she didn't say a word. Just silence, raw and thick and heavy, stretching out between us like a canyon. Every second without an answer tore deeper into my chest. "It's not what you think, David," she finally said, barely audible. I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. "Not what I think. Last night was amazing?" That line doesn't leave much room for imagination, Rachel. "Don't treat me like an idiot." She sat beside me on the bed, hands clenched in her lap. "It was a mistake. Just once. It didn't mean anything." Her words hit like a hammer to the ribs. This woman I'd spent 20 years building a life with, my best friend, the mother of my kids, was telling me she'd thrown all that away for something meaningless? A mistake. I echoed, my voice rising. I tried to hold back, to stay composed, but I could feel it slipping. "Rachel, we've built everything together. A family. A home. You were my person. And you threw it all away for a mistake." Her eyes filled with tears. But I couldn't tell if it was guilt, regret, or just the fear of being caught. "We talked about this," she said quietly. "Remember? Years ago? We joked about a free pass. I thought maybe it was okay. That it wouldn't hurt you." That cut deeper than everything else. "You thought it wouldn't hurt me?" I said, my voice breaking with anger. "How could you think that? How could you ever believe I'd be okay with this?" She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "I'm sorry, David. I swear I wasn't thinking clearly. It just happened. I don't even know why. I wasn't myself." I stood up, pacing the room like a caged animal. My mind was in chaos, but one question kept clawing at me. "Who is he?" She hesitated. "Someone from work." I nodded slowly, jaw clenched. "But it's over," she added quickly. "It didn't mean anything. And it's done. Please, David, can't we just move past this?" Her voice cracked. Her eyes searched mine, desperate. But I couldn't find anything left to give. That night, I didn't have it in me to speak. I didn't sleep either. I just lay there, eyes fixed on the ceiling, my thoughts swirling like a storm I couldn't escape. Every memory, every vow, every quiet moment we'd shared over the last 20 years looped in my mind like a cruel film reel. I thought about our kids, our home, the life we'd poured ourselves into. And then, inevitably, I thought about Kyle. About the texts. About the betrayal that had snapped something in me that couldn't be fixed. The next morning, I slipped out of the house before Rachel woke up. I couldn't look at her. I needed space just to think. To breathe. I ended up at my best friend Marcus's place. He opened the door looking half asleep, but the second he saw my face, concern wiped the fog away. "Man, what's going on?" he asked, stepping aside so I could come in. I sat down on his couch, my hands still shaking. And then I told him everything. He didn't interrupt. Just listened, his expression shifting from disbelief to fury to quiet sympathy. "Damn," he said when I finally stopped. "David, I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine." I nodded, staring at the carpet like it held answers. "I don't know what to do, Marcus. I still love her. But I don't think I can forgive her. I don't know how to come back from this." He leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees. "That's something only you can figure out. But whatever you decide, you're not alone, all right? I've got you." The next few days were a blur. Rachel tried reaching out, texts, notes, even calling my sister to ask how I was. But I couldn't face her. Every time I saw her name pop up, the same pain surged through me all over again. And then, after nearly a week of silence, I came home, looked her in the eyes, and told her what she already knew was coming. "I can't do this anymore, Rachel," I said, my voice barely holding steady. "I can't look at you without seeing him. I can't trust you. And I don't think I ever will." She broke down, begged me to forgive her, to give it another shot. But my heart was already closing that chapter. "You made your choice," I told her quietly. "Now I have to make mine." The divorce was brutal. Unpacking 2 decades of life together, splitting memories into boxes, arguing over what belonged to whom, it felt like bleeding from 1,000 tiny cuts. But it was also freeing. With each item packed, each paper signed, I felt the weight lift. Staying would have meant living under the shadow of what she did. And I couldn't do that to myself. I deserved more than that. In the months that followed, I focused on piecing myself back together. I leaned on the people who still had my back. I picked up old hobbies, spent time outdoors, even took a trip by myself for the first time in years. The pain didn't vanish, not all at once. But it dulled. It became something I could live with. Eventually, I let go of the bitterness, not for her, but for me. And standing here now on the far side of it all, I've learned something I never expected. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is walk away.